Hey Hope, I'm trying to see because now my tablet is sort of reproducing the content upside down. I don't know why. Who are you guys? Here, I don't know if there's a storm coming or what, but there's this very strong wind. Um, I don't know why I have like the tablet sideways, but when it comes to YouTube, it comes out vertically. I'll try if I can see it like this. Who are you guys? Hello. Also, I'm wearing my mic that is not that reliable. It's not the one that lasts longer. This is the one, but I don't know why it's not functioning. I cannot seem to turn it on. So yeah, I will have to do the readings with this one. It's so chaotic, my relationship with these mics, because they are not they're not reliable. They run out of battery very fast, very soon. Especially, I think that if you use it, I don't know, maybe for people that do interviews or, they are content creators, they create TikToks. There's this feeling of, that a TikTok is not, how many minutes is it? Like the longest of a TikTok, 10 minutes. So yeah, for those kind of content, I guess it works. But for me, that I do have long hours in live streams, it's not good. It's not good. Also, guys, like you notice, I did send on Discord a picture of how the remodulation is going. Um, Actually, that side that you see is, I wanted to show you like the mess that is on inside. But of course, that we have to open the ceiling yet. Like the ceiling that it has is not going to stay like that. It's going to be open. Like half of it is going to be like open, so there could be like an outside, like a garden, and the other half is going to be like the place where I'm going to be. Um, because at this moment it's fully closed, and you cannot, there's not fresh air in that space, because it's like it's cornered. It's literally in the corner of the house, and there's no ventilation, like there's no entrance of fresh air, because everything is, there's ceilings, there's a lot of roof and covered places everywhere. So yeah, we do have to open it. So that's the toughest part to work on the remodelation of the ceiling, because they have to take, the parts of the ceiling out. They have to also bring like new, this new, I don't know how you call them, that these are like the structures that sort of then the roof is going to fall on them, is going to be, placed in them. So those are also are very key. We do have them in the ceiling has them, but it's very old since it's made of wood. Some of them are in very bad condition, so we have to change them. So yeah, a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of time. So, but I'm happy because we are making progress. It's starting to see the progress. But yeah, I believe that probably if everything goes well, this weekend and the other weekend, the next weekend, they are going to be working on it. So maybe we can finally see some results, some advances. We couldn't do it like the last weekend it rained, so they cannot work if it's raining. A lot of interruptions. But my dad and I, the moments that I am during the weeks, the weekends, if I'm home, I try to help him with. He does the construction part that it has to do with the bricks, with the cement, building the walls. The other day I was helping him out to, um, to build this. I don't know how you call them, but these are like pillars made of cement, and you have to stuff them with cement. So it was a lot of buckets of cements and stones like being dropped inside of it. So I had to help him. We were like the whole day working on that. Like, I mean, I don't have like, oh wow, like it's a lot of strength, but I was able to help him, and between him and me, we were able to finish it in 2 days. But it was a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of teamwork, I would say. Like me and my dad, especially because my dad has worked all his life on construction of houses. So he's about to be in his 80s, but you know he built this house himself. Oh, um, so there's a very strong wind. Um, so he's very prideful in the sense that he wants to, when it comes to, the remodelation, when it comes to the walls, either to rebuild them, like to do them again, or to, destroy them and start all over. He wants to do this labor himself. And it's very hard because actually it's very hard to convince him not to, because we already paid someone to do some work for that, but he is so prideful that he wants to do it himself. So yeah, that's why I try to always be by his side, to see, what he's up to, because after he had all these accidents, because he's an old person, so he's not getting younger, and he doesn't realize that he's not getting younger. So I had to be, next to him, seeing what he's up to, if he's about to do some heavy lifting, or if he's about to, do something that you're like, you can ask me for help to do this. Like, I know I'm a woman, but I can do this. I have a strength as well. Not like a man's, obviously, but I do have a strength, and I can lift some things. Maybe we will have to slow down a few times, but I can help you. Um, but he's very prideful like that. Look at my huge cup. This cup is so I love it so much because it says um, self-love in Spanish. It says self-love in Spanish. It's my favorite cup. It's one of my favorites, but it's huge. So yeah, I'm drinking self-love. It says amor propio in Spanish, that is self-love. Yeah, actually, about the counseling part, guys, I don't have many questions. I have, not everyone submitted like the first time. There's a lot of ideas. In this time, I only picked one that actually was the one that resonated with me the most. That I actually, Fluffy was the one that actually she came up with this. We were talking about this. And I believe that this is going to be the only subject that I'm going to be pulling cards for today in the part of counseling, because the other ones I wasn't like, no, I tried to, see if I can rephrase or see it from another perspective. But, when it comes to the counseling requests that I do, the questions or the subjects, I would prefer that if you made the suggestion that it's a question or it's a subject that has to do with us or what we can do ourselves as fans or as a community that consumes K-pop. Not from a place of like, oh, what is going to happen with this, or it's about also doing some self-reflection and not always like put it on the company or the entertainment business and be like, oh, is are they going to do this? Are they going to be like this? Are they not going to be like this? It's like the companies, the entertainment business will always be present in because it's a big business. But I think that what we can do or reflect on, especially in this segment with that I created, is about going back to us. What is it to us? How it affects us, like consumers, like fans, however you want to call it. And not so much like putting it like, oh, is this person going to change, or are these going to be like this differently? Who knows? What we can do or what we can change or maybe be better is something that has to do with us, with ourselves, not so much with, oh, is the artist's fault, or is their doing. Yeah, of course, they are attractive, they are magnetic, they are here to sell us something. So yeah, I think that they will always continue like this. But I think that what I want to do is so we can connect with the tarot and also with the readings, what is going on with us. Not so much like, oh, is this aspect of these labels are they going to change? Is the artist going to change? Are the fans, like, I mean, in the case of are the fans going to change, I already read for that. I think I got one of those questions. It was rephrased differently, but from what I got, from what I read, it's that actually the fans are always in control because the fans have the money. So it's more about like what is going on with people with money or with people that just cannot seem to get out of that consumerism. It's like, okay, how many of these do I have to buy? Okay, yeah, I have it. I can pay it. I can do it. I have it. So I feel entitled because of this. But yeah, also it's really hard to see if someone is going to change their mentality or the way they have been doing things, because if they see that somehow it's working for them, I think that is really hard to create awareness in people like this. And people like this have always been, not just in fandoms, in everyday life, you're always going to see people like this, that they are fanatics, but in different aspects. maybe not on K-pop, but they are either they're religious fanatics, they are fanatics of their company, or fanatics of work, or the work culture, the corporate culture. Then you have the people that are inside the MLMs, the self-employed people. It's all the excesses, like excess, exist everywhere. But yeah, in here it's just K-pop. The YG liquor reading was so interesting. I saw people making fun of the liquor today, so you were right again. Yeah. It's just that it's possible that, if they continue leaking things, it's going to get confused with what is a parody of this, or what is made up and what is like the real leak or the real information. So it's all going to become like a circus. I don't know if this person wanted to make. I think that it was a very abrupt decision, because if they were laid off, like I said, there was like a very emotional response out of this person that was fed up with their circumstances. And maybe they just wanted to let it out. It's like, okay, I'm going to expose everything, but they didn't think it very like smartly. I don't That's why I was like, there's no smart way to do these kind of things. These are things that people that we had all worked in corporations, we know that there's some contracts that we sign about certain brands that we are not supposed to display to the public. And yeah, maybe once you're out of the company, you see things differently. And maybe, if someone personally asks you like, oh, how was it working there? And you're like, oh yeah, I have some experience. I know that this product is not that good. Or, I used to work with this brand and they are not very reliable. But to expose, some very like footage and everything, that's very dangerous. I would say it's more than an opinion. It's more like, someone said, a former employee said this. It's more like I have proof in my phone or in my computer, or I have it near me, so I'm going to grab it. And for what? If at the end you were laid off. So fanatics just swift the obsession. They don't stop. Yeah, people now want third, fourth of the Blackpink members to apologize because of the leaked videos. And it's also very, very interesting in the sense that, it happens now when the girls are trying to, they had been working really hard on their solos and what they're doing. So, it's also very like bittersweet in that sense, like, you have to do it now. And why, if some people were like, oh, this has to do is to cover up, about what happened with the actor Kim So-hyun. But if that was the case, why always YG artists, especially Blackpink? Why is it always them? Why is it always the girls? Like, I'm like, is there no other group? Like, what is going on? Yeah, probably, yes. Because it's like, it's never someone that you're like, oh my God, I never heard of this. Like, oh my, it's always them. Remember the Dispatch concert? Remember that one? The lineup? The lineup of the Dispatch concert, the hostage concert. Okay, then we're going to continue talking about that, guys, because if you have extra questions about that, about the league and everything, we can pull some cards because I don't have much people today. So it's going to be very short. So if you want, if you want to come up with different readings or ideas, we can do it now. Because like I said, I don't know if during the weekend I will be able to do a live stream since there's people that are going to come over to work, hopefully. So yeah, I will not be able to go live. So today is the day. We can do this very spontaneous, carpooling. Not it doesn't have to be the structure, especially because it's always the people that we know. We are we are part of the community, so I trust you guys' recommendations. Like we always come up with something interesting. Actually, the other day, I was rewatching my live streams of last year, 2024, and I was very proud of myself. I was like, I also got very nostalgic because Luna came up in some of the old, especially when I just moved upstairs, and she was in the background. But, it's these live streams of 2-3 hours, but it's like we always, with you guys and with your recommendations and with your opinions, there's always this flow of fun, like I it's not just me ranting about something. It's like I have great feedback, comments, it feels very, very alive, very entertaining. So I was like, I make good content. I make good content with the little tools that I own, because I don't have, like I said, I don't have a fancy camera to do, the beautiful videos that people do when they read cards. But, I have been doing a lot of live streams, and it's been a lot of years. I have been consistent. So I'm proud of my evolution, because, and also I have been reading a lot. I have been reading for the different series that we created, different subjects, zodiac, personality, different dynamics. It's so much fun. It's so fun. It's so fun. I'm so happy that I was able to get the feedback from you guys and being able to move forward with that feedback, and also give you a content that you like, give you something that you're like, oh, this was interesting. Oh, this was cool. Or maybe there's people that are like, I don't know these people that you're talking about, but I find it, very interesting, the way you read tarot or what you say. So for me, I'm so thankful that, I I hope this year I can continue with this energy, with this passion for what I do, and that we can keep introducing like new series. Of course, I want to, keep advancing with the series to make it fun, not just to talk about the future, just making it dynamic, and so you guys can have fun. Mm. Is there a series that does the best? I think that the ideal partner is the one that does the best. Ideal partner, their emotional, sensual needs as well, what they find attractive, those are very successful series, very successful, very successful. This is why I believe that, you know, on Wednesdays, if I can, I have to go back to the romantic readings because people love those. And it sort of gives you a glimpse of, you know, what traits they show when they are in a relationship, you know. So for us, the Lulu people. Yeah. But I think, you know, that is a great way to open minds as well, because it also allows us to maybe see that they do have their traits or their style when they want to be in a relationship or when they are attracted to someone, you know, like we are reading on that. So definitely there's experience in that. So I think that that is more interesting than just thinking like, oh, my bias doesn't have a boyfriend, girlfriend. They are angels. They never kissed a girl or a guy. You know, they are pure. And of course, like I had certain readings for certain idols where, you know, the pureness, if they are pure or if they are not that romantic or they are not that, you know, that expressive in relationships, also it shows. It shows. It's not all like, oh yeah, it's all romantic. Mark, there will come a day, there will come a day when I'm going to pull cards for Mark and he's going to leave that celibate. He's going to leave it. But yeah, I love it that you know who I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to continue with this. The only question or subject that I have for counseling today, counseling in K-pop, and is this subject that it has to do with the Lulu behavior. And with this, you know, we can all open our hearts and be like, I am the Lulu as well. So it says, the Lulu behavior and how to ground ourselves when we feel like we're, you know, that the Luluness is getting out of hand. You know, so yeah, the Lulu behavior and how to ground ourselves when it's getting too far. The past, the present of the situation, and the future. I mean, when it comes to when we think, you know, when we were talking about this with Fluffy, and the word, you know, grounding, it came. It definitely is a phrase that we probably we earth sign people we use a lot because it's something that we always try to go back to the ground. You know, we always try to go back to the basis. You know, to the reality. So it makes sense that, you know, the question is more based on, you know, maybe what we think that is necessary, you know, to ground ourselves when sometimes being the Lulu takes us too far away, you know. And actually I have I have two cards that are pentacles, so I think that the ability to ground ourselves is there. It's just that there's a lot of work to do, a lot of work to do. I think that the person that probably feels like they are being too the Lulu, for them to be able to ground themselves is not going to be, you know, something like you just do it and you snap out of it just like this. No, it's a slow process, and even to realize it that your Luluness is getting in the way. probably is a very slow process. You can work on this, but it demands consistency as well. But it can happen. It's just that it's not that easy, and probably it's not that easy because the person or the people that are the Lulus, they are being fed 24/7. So it's not so much like, oh, it's my fault. I am the kind of person that I just go the Lulu, or I go delusional very fast. Like, I'm a daydreamer, I'm a dreamer, I'm a fantasy person, I fantasize a lot. It could be one of these situations, but at the same time also, the content, the artist, everything is being made to make you like feel like you have no escape. And when you are thinking like, oh, maybe I should change my ways and do something productive and go out and literally go touch some grass, sometimes it's not that easy because there's people that are working non-stop to keep feeding you. So it's like it's a tough, it's not impossible, but you have to be very consistent. You have to be very realistic. You have to be realistic, and you have to be a bit harsh on yourself as well, like, especially if it has to do with spending money. Not so much the hours, how you spend your time. More is about the money, more than anything. But yeah, we start with the cards. The card that comes from the past of the situation, we have the Ace of Cups. We have the King of Pentacles in the present, and we have the Knight of Pentacles as the future. And from the Oracle of the Angels, we have the message of remain positive. So yeah, see, like the card is like, there's a way out. You can ground yourself, especially when you think that maybe not just K-pop, because I think that if we think about entertainment, maybe it can be you getting addicted to, I don't know, to playing games online, consuming things online. It can also be this. But I think that with the message of remain positive, I think that also the Oracle of the Angels is like you are not going to accomplish any kind of change or something good if you beat yourself because of this, or if you get all negative, or if you start like talking negatively to yourself, about maybe consumption, about maybe fantasizing too much, about maybe not being able to let go of certain consumism. I think that there's a reason why we maybe need to fill the void with this that we consume and that we love so much, or that we are fans of. So when it says remain positive, is like also like, don't get on the negative side, in the part of like, oh, I'm such a fool, or I will never learn, I have a defect, I have this issue, I'm always like this, and I always be like this. No, it can be a facet. You can, change if you want to. The past of this situation of the Delulu behavior, we have the Ace of Cups. So it's actually very cute. What can I say? It's very cute. I think that the Delulu behavior, like where it comes from, I have so much love to give, and I don't know where to give it to. Like, I am a very emotional person, or I have so much emotion, so much, I have so much, like I have so much, but I don't know where to direct this energy, or this love, or these strong emotions that I feel. Probably this could be also people that maybe, online, they feel like they can display all this love while being anonymous, or they feel more secure in showing their emotions and their feelings, because they are like, oh, okay, well, I don't have to see this person face to face, so I can be devoted, I can be loyal, I can be, like, be obsessive even a bit, and they are going to take it, and they're going to find it cute, and they're going to appreciate it. But probably the kind of person that is the Lulu, they find it really hard in reality to give this, because to have this openness maybe with their loved ones or maybe with their own family or the people around them, because maybe at some point they fear rejection, or they had been told in the past like, oh no, you are too much, oh no, you are too emotional, you care too much, you are too much, how you're feeling and the way you're giving yourself is like too much, you are doing too much. So this is why this person probably goes to the Delulu state, because it feels safe for you to pour all your attention and all your feelings, and you feel like, oh, in here I also feel validated, because I also meet another Delulu people that they also have this. Like for me, this card, the Ace of Cups is like the running water. When you live like you just leave the water running, and it's wasting, of course, but it's like it's flowing, it's going, it's going, it's going, it's going, and it's like hypnotic. You don't know how much you are wasting. You just let it flow, you just let it go. And I think that this definitely shows that, for you to have a Delulu behavior, there's this need to I have all this love, all these things about me that I want to give, and this person needs of me, they need of someone like me, someone that loves like this. So yeah, the present we have the King of Pentacles. So again, see about grounding themselves. Again, when we think about, when we read about fans and their behavior, again we have Pentacles. If you notice, the last times that I read for them, there's also these these pentacles. So I think that when it comes to, the potential of grounding yourself, I think that actually the fans are very successful at grounding themselves. Probably when it comes to their matters or their personal lives, they have it under control, but there's something about being fun that is there when they get out of control. Because probably in real life, they look very secure, or they look very serious, or they look very responsible, like, oh yeah, I have everything under control, I'm so professional. Like they don't show it right away. I think that it shows when they are online. It doesn't show. They are actually probably very practical people. So it says that they are able to actually in the present to seem like they are grounded. They definitely show that they are grounded. And again, it has to do with money and status. Probably they are able to maybe have a good balance between being the Lulu and having a job. Because in here I can see all pentacles. So it's about like getting a task done, either going to school and maybe, graduating and finishing their studies, or going to work. Literally, it's like I go to work, I go to my profession, and I am an ace. I'm so good at what I do. I have everything under control. But I also have that side that I can be very delulu. I can be very delusional. So, and also I think that it's really strange, because for me, I think that probably a delulu fan thinks that being grounded is actually being able to go and make money, or to not have any interruption in their careers, or in an activity that they have to do routinely. So they can mask that, they can definitely mask, disguise that, and be like, oh, but I'm very delusional, but actually I'm paying all my bills. So, I'm very grounded. I'm a very realistic person. But actually, there's something about maybe, when it comes to work and functioning in a very mundane part, you are very successful. But there's something maybe about maybe your social skills or your relationships that they are not they are not that successful. It's like, maintaining a job is important. Yeah, paying the bills is important, but that is not like, oh, because I already have discovered, I already done my homework, so I can go and be the Lulu. Actually, it doesn't show that you're grounded. It doesn't show that you are an okay Delulu. Actually, it shows that maybe you are very overwhelmed, or you are very tired of work, or you are very, like, just maybe work or responsibilities also, or, put a lot of pressure on you. So this is why you become the Lulu, to evade this, to evade responsibilities. Because I see a lot of pentacles. So it's like, I have money, but at the same time, I want to give my money away because I don't value what I do. I don't value, I actually inside, I'm not happy with what I'm working for. I'm not satisfied. I see, like I said the other day when I read also for a fan's perspective question, and I was like, where are the cups? Where is the sentiment towards an idol or towards a group? Where is the feeling? Where are the emotions? It's like there's a lack of human connection. It seems like, yeah, you are amazing at making money, and probably with money you can buy a lot of experiences with K-pop or K-dramas, or but what is going on with your relationships, with your intimate connections? What is going on with your emotionality? Why are you putting all these emotions on these fictional characters? Something like this. But yeah, like I said, in the future, Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, a long road, a long process, a very slow one. I think that also, honestly, to be able to get out of the Delulu behavior and maybe ground yourself a bit, it also not just it takes patience, but also it takes to be humble. I think that people have to sort of, like I said, get off the horse and do the work, do the inner work. But as long as you hide behind a pentacle, or you hide behind dollars, or you hide behind your incomes, and are like, oh, because I can buy a ticket for this, or I can buy this, yeah, you can. But that doesn't mean that your life is going to be fulfilled, or that, this the Lulu behavior is going to be reciprocated to you. It's like it's not going anywhere except taking your money or your some. This is the thing. I think that there's something about them thinking, oh, but I have this money, like I don't need it. I can spend it the way I want to because I work very hard. But I think that also is like, what kind of experience are you buying, and what are you trying to avoid in reality? What is going on in your real life? What is going on, when we are not that anonymous? What is going on in there? A lot of isolation, a lot of loners, definitely, because I hear with the pentacles, I think that these are very serious and very, people that really, you look at them and you're like, yeah, they are, very responsible, they are very serious, they are very, they are very successful. But, when they go to Lulu is when they show their, it's like the gates of emotions are open, and they just throw all the love. So yeah, it takes a lot of self-awareness, of working a lot on yourself, and not so much thinking like, oh yeah, since I can buy this experience, or I can spend my money like this, um, I have ownership. I'm okay. Yeah, yeah. It's like it's a long road of acceptance. It's a lot. There's things that are deeper in there. There's a lot of needs unmet that probably, they are trying to, you know satisfy this with material things maybe, and it's not that deep. It's not that deep. And of course, that the feeling of satisfaction is not going to last that long. there's always going to be something more to buy, always. But yeah, the card of stay positive. So yeah, it's not difficult for the Lulu fan to recover or get more grounding, but I think that there's also a lot of denial about like I am a delusional person. There's a lot of like, oh, but I pay my bills and I go to work and I show up in the world and I do my task and I'm perfect. And yeah, but you know what is going on with your feelings? You are giving strangers online all this that you feel in excess, but you cannot give it to the people that are next to you. So what is going on with that? Mm. I could imagine that people use hate comments to cope with their own miserable life. Being broke once brings you back down to earth when it comes to the Lulu spending behavior. Yeah, I think that also, like I said, it's like there has to be like an instance where unfortunately something happens. Like I said, you fell off this horse. You are no longer the shiny king of pentacles and you fell off this horse. You are the knight of pentacles. Okay, maybe you're earning less or you lost money, but you're still a knight of pentacles. So I think that the way to bring these people to reality is to take away the pentacles. It's like taking away their credit cards and cut it in half, like something like this. It's like I will take, because as long as they have it in their possession, they will always be thinking about what new thing I can invest on or I can buy, so, and they are always looking at these pentacles. They are not looking at like the idol or the artist with this sincere love. Some of them may do it actually. Like I know there's fans that they really love, and probably they are fans of certain people because of their art, because of what they do. But the Delulus, they don't. It's all like compulsiveness. Mm, yes. What a waste of money. I heard some fans travel to every country to see the same concert of their idols. Yeah, and if you say this, in the first thing, if you're like, well, like, isn't it like the same set list of songs? Isn't it like the same? And they're like, no, it's not the same. They get on the defensive very fast. Like, no, it's not the same. It's a different, because the set of songs it changed. It's different. Yes, I'd rather use my money otherwise. Okay, guys, I have these three people to do this personality tarot reading for, and then we can continue. If you have another ideas of readings, we can continue. But yeah, I don't have much today. Also, this mic is not that trustworthy. Probably it's going to cut at some point. But yeah, so I'm going to try to do this. And then we can chat if you guys want. My God, the wind is so strong. Like it's like whistling. Like I get so scared when this happens. Okay. I'm going to continue with the personality readings. I'm going to start with Riize Sungchan. Riize Sungchan. Let's see his personality. I believe I never read for him in this aspect. So yeah, let's see. A lot of idols got the stealer, the fifth, the stealer archetype. So they're really good at, at seducing people or making people believe, yeah. Six of Swords. Also, we have for Sungchan, we have guide, thief or stealer. We have hermit. Yeah, very, very, very serious, this man. Like, yeah, very, very spiritual. I would say he has the potential, but at the same time, he's such a loner. Yeah. And we have the Six of Swords that it says healing begins. Healing begins. And it's very interesting because, in here we see the green of the heart chakra that is sort of activating. Yeah, I think that, yeah, Sungchan has this ability of being a guide. I think that this, and also I have a lot of blue here, so he probably is really good at processing his ideas, or maybe he's really good at talking or giving pieces of advice. But he's also very evasive. There's something about him, just like he doesn't. It's like he is really good at giving advices, but maybe when it comes to himself, he's not that good. He doesn't have the same awareness for himself, I would say. And probably, yeah, he has the potential of being a guide for others, but with the Stealer card, I think that he doesn't have the enough confidence, at least not in this probably this year or this part of his life. He's still, trying to um, avoid getting too personal or too close to someone, or maybe he doesn't want to believe it himself. He doesn't want to believe that he has the potential of being a guide. Probably he had always been like a follower himself, where he follows others. So it's really hard for him to see him in that spot, to see him like, oh, I also could be a leader, or I also could be a guide. I also could be of comfort for others. I think that there's something about him that is very elusive, that is still he also, because I was thinking, these cards for me it's not giving me idol life. It's not giving me like entertainer life. The stealer could be him sort of going back and forth with, he's really good with people. So probably, he has good relationships, not with everyone, because he also got the hermit. So he's very selective with his people. Probably he's really nice, but, to call him a friend, or for him to call you a friend, he's not friends with everyone. He has a few very selected friends. I would say maybe he has one or two friends, like tops. Um, but with the Steeler, it gives me that, there's a part of him that he's like, yeah, I like being an idol because, I can steal someone's heart. I have been told that, I'm very mesmerizing, or that, the girls love me. I don't know, the guys love me. I don't know. I think that there's something about him. Maybe, yeah, it has to do with his appearance, people being like, oh, you would be a great actor because, you're so handsome and you're so beautiful. But when it comes to personality, I actually see his energy more like a spiritual teacher, or even like a monk himself, because he's not interested in sharing with others. And also, he's not interested in sort of putting on a mask and being like, okay, I'm going to be funny, or I'm going to be entertaining, or I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to stand out. I think that he doesn't have the necessity to stand out neither in the entertainment industry, nor, around his peers. He's like, I don't do that. I don't like it. And also, probably he gets very awkward when people put him on the spotlight. He gets very like, yeah, but the good thing is that he is really good with people. He probably is very polite. He knows what to say. So there's this feeling of, like he's really good. He's really good. But I'm like, he is a bit like disconnected. I would say, and also the Steeler is giving me that he goes back and forth. He goes back and forth with his idea, or maybe his vision of of who am I. He really tries really hard to, because with the hermit, he's such an, I wonder he's studying something, so maybe this is why he's more focused on himself and his studies and his own process. He's very intelligent. He's very intelligent. It's just that maybe the way he practices, the way he learns things is very isolated. It's like he's a guy that he's like, yeah, just give me what I have to do, and I will go in a corner and just, rehearse myself. Like I will go to the rehearsal myself. Um, he's very intelligent, very intelligent. It's just that he seems to be an introvert. It seems to be like he is very much inside himself, not very emotional. Like I think that he can be emotional. Definitely there's emotions in here, but since we have the Steeler, he is evasive about, probably not everyone knows this side of him, or he doesn't let people see his vulnerability, but because he is very sensitive. But he's like always playing, always like disappearing of people, or maybe being in the background, or just not talking that much. So you actually don't see that he's in there. There's something about him becoming like a sort of like a ghost or like a ninja. So there's this feeling of isolation. Like, the better you talk to me, the I will be great. So yeah, but also the Six of Swords, healing begins. So also I think that besides having these personality traits, I also think that maybe there were some experiences that he had very early in his career that were very traumatizing. I also think that he probably didn't also have like the best teachers, or the best, like people just left him alone. I mean, he could have, a good friendship with someone, with a member, one or two. But I think that there's something about him, his experience maybe in the industry weren't that positive. So this is why he's always like, I don't know if I'm going to stay. I don't know if this is going to be permanent. He feels threatened all the time. This is why instead of him, showing dissatisfaction and discomfort, he actually prefers to, put on a blank face and just like a poker face, and be like, I will just hide, or I will just be silent. I will not express my opinion about anything. So yeah, it's a way of protecting himself as well. But we have the Six of Swords that it says healing begins. So I think that Sungchan has the potential this year of healing himself, healing his experience with the industry, maybe with being part of this group. I think that he had very traumatic situations where he he thought he was safe, or he felt like he was ready to open up, and then something happened and he had to close himself again, because we have the throat chakra in here. So not the throat chakra, sorry, the heart chakra. So there's something about him like not knowing who to open his heart to, because every time I get attached to someone emotionally, I have to go, or that person has to go. So there's this feeling of like, I don't want to get hurt again. This is why I don't stay. This is why I don't get attached to people nor situation, because my journey has been confusing. So I had to make it on my own. And there's a lot of distrustfulness in here. It's like almost this feeling like he's thinking that, oh, maybe there's something wrong with me, that I have bad luck, that every time I want to do something, it doesn't go right. It always ends up in chaos. So he's fearful. He's sort of like the way he goes into himself is to protect himself from deception, because he had been, deceived a lot. It's just that he doesn't say it. He's not. This is why he has the archetype of the guide, because he's a very forgiving person, I would say, in the sense that he's very wise. He's like, I don't want to say or to blame people for what happened, but things have been difficult for me, and I was let down a lot of times. Okay, I'm going to continue with Enhypen Nikki. Let's see how his personality is doing these days. Okay, we have, for Nikki, we have the card of Avenger, we have the card of Detective, and we have the card of Virgin. And then from the other cards, we have the card of Seven of Wands, choose your battles. So it's very interesting, actually, these archetypes, because I remember when I was doing this, I believe it was like the sensual needs, or there was a series that it was very sexual or sensual, and people were like wanting a reading for Nikki. And I think that this has been like always like a very like discussed topic here. Well, not for me, because I was very direct from the beginning. This guy was underage, and people were already like spamming the comment section, like, we want a reading for him, we want a reading for him. And I was like, the guy for me, it's not to say like, he, of course, he is an idol, he's very talented, he has been doing this since he was a very small child, but that doesn't mean that he has, the life experience or the personality attributes of an adult. He can look older, but maybe inside he's still a child. So I was like, why are you so interested in knowing like his sexual needs or what he loves in the bedroom, where, the guy potentially, maybe he's still figuring out what he likes and what he doesn't like, this is why when I saw the archetype of the Virgin, I was reminded of this discussion that we had, like I was like, I don't think that Nikki had still the enough experiences, personal experiences, not as an idol, not what you see on a stage. I mean, personal and human experience, to be like, oh, he has this complex personality and he has these complex experiences and needs and desires. He's still figuring himself out. He is a very young kid, a very young, I don't want to say a young adult. I know he is not, he's not underage anymore, but I think that there's something like the minute he stopped being an underage, people were spamming with questions, asking about him in a very inappropriate way. And I'm sure that this is not just him. Maybe it happened to another Magnus or another, underage idols in groups. But I think that people also, they have to stop sexualizing, but at the same time, I'm like, the companies also, do these promotions with them where they also, give them very provocative choreographies, very provocative, wardrobes and everything. So it's like half and half responsibility in this sense. But yeah, in this case, I think that there's a bit much more of depth, I would say, in Nikki's personality this year, because we have the adventure, we have the detective, we have the virgin, and we have the Seven of Wands. So I think that for him, when it comes to personality, there's something about his inner fire coming out. He is like a very reactive person. Like, I don't know why I want to say teenager. I think that he's in this phase that maybe he's like acting like a very rebel teenager. And I think that he wants to probably, I don't know, he wants to call people out, or he wants to be part of very important conversations, and he wants to speak up, and he wants to be listened to, he wants to be heard. With the adventure, there's something very reactive in him, that he's like, if I find the situation unfair, I want to say something, I'm ready. Like, I has this very fiery attitude of like, I don't care if you think that I'm being disrespectful, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to say something. Like, he is, in that sense, he's sort of, getting more comfortable with speaking up. And he gets very much on the defensive when you try to, maybe, insult or just be, negative or be condescending to the people that he loves, to the people that he cares about. He's in this very protective mode, and also a bit of a hero. He wants to protect his people. He wants to protect his loved ones. It's just that maybe, he does it from a very impulsive part, and there's something with the archetype of the virgin, that even though I have the adventure, not the adventure, sorry, the adventure, and I have the detective. He's very intelligent, he's very observant. He probably, his intuition and his power of observation is like growing bigger and bigger, in the sense that he's becoming very skillful in maybe, observing someone and just figuring this person out, or figuring their intentions. So there's something that he probably is learning a lot, because he had been working with adults from a very young age. So there's something about him using this experience or this ability of his to observe, and now he's like, I'm going to say something, or I want to say something, I want to react, I want to do something. I cannot sit still when there's injustices. It's just that, it can come up very irresponsible from his part, because we have the archetype of the virgin. So there's a bit of innocence still, or inexperience still, in Nikki. Even though, he has this potential of being a protector, of being, a good citizen in the future. Also with the detective, he definitely maybe had seen the dark side of people. It's like he's not naive in that sense. He has this detective, very, observant and very intelligent, sharp, I don't know if it's like sharp eyes, or he's really good at listening. So there's something about him collecting information and being very curious, but also being very mysterious about it, and keeping the information that he has for himself. This is something that is going to be good and useful for him in the future, that he has this detective. I wonder if he has like some Scorpio placements in there, because there's something about him. Yeah, he's very impulsive. He's very much like any young kid of his age, that he believes that he can make a difference, that he can defend you, and maybe he's just a child. There's a bit of immaturity. He maybe is not seeing the whole picture. He maybe sometimes he's like, I don't like that person, or I don't like this, but maybe he doesn't know the whole situation or the whole story. But at the same time, he can improve with the archetype of the detective. Definitely he is on maybe he always had this sort of curiosity about why people do what they do, or how come people do one thing and say another. So there's something with the detective archetype of him being very intelligent in that sense, or being very observant, and he doesn't forget. He accumulates what he knows or what he had observed. And I think that maybe if you are part of that industry, he has seen a lot of things. So I think that whatever information he's keeping in the future, it can be useful and it can help him, it can save him and others in the future. But at the same time, I would control this impulsivity of his, especially because we have the Seven of Wands. This small person would be him. And these giant heads, it would be like, I don't know, his bosses, people that are older than him. So there's something about him being this small, tiny person, and him thinking that he can win them all. He can win against these people, and actually, no, they have power over you. Today, they have it. This is why the keyword is choose your battles. It's like, don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. Don't get into arguments with powerful people, even if you don't like the way they talk to you, if you don't like the way they talk to the other members, you just remain silent and you just remain in there, wait, breathe. Don't get into arguments with people that are more powerful than you, because they are going to destroy you. So there's something about him, in this process, that this is why I was getting like a sort of, adolescence kind of behavior, because he's been very reactive, maybe not that tolerant. He probably, in the past, he was a bit more shy, but now he's like in this very hormonal, very, very like his hormones, and maybe him, becoming this young man, he wants to speak up, or he wants to say no to certain things, and it would be wise for him to remain humble and silent, because he's dealing with very powerful people, at least now. So yeah, he still doesn't have the whole experience. He's going to be an adventure in the future, but not now. I think he looks so sad with everything. Okay, and then I have this member, Boynextdoor, Taesan. Let's see, for Boynextdoor, Taesan. And then we can move on to the open forum for questions. Okay. I don't know this member of Boynextdoor, Taesan. I'm so scared of this wind. There's a very strong wind outside, and it's sort of whistling. So I'm so afraid, guys, because I'm afraid of, because there's always, something that is blowing if the wind is very strong. I hope nothing breaks, but I'm a bit sensitive about this. But yeah. Okay, for this member, for Boynextdoor, Taesan, we start with gossip. Is he an air sign? Gossip, priest, and we have exorcist. And we have the Three of Swords, sadness and isolation. So what is going on with this member? I don't know him, Taesan, but he seems very sad. I mean, he's recovering from this, but I think that he's very sad. And this is why I when I have all these cards, there's something about him hiding this sadness that he has. It's not something, maybe he wants to go through this on his own. And maybe I think that there's something about him maybe talking too much, or, maybe making jokes, or playing being very playful and just outgoing to disguise that actually there's moments where he feels very sad or disappointed, or maybe there's he feels heartbroken about something. Um, so yeah, with gossip, I think that he knows everyone's business. Like the archetype of gossip is giving me like this person that he's really good with words, he's really good at connecting with people, and maybe he has this ability that the others open up and they tell him everything about themselves, or they tell him a few secrets, or what is going on. I mean, there's something that I mean, he can use that information for his own benefit, but also with the archetype of priest, there's something that you feel like when you are talking to him, you feel like you are in this very intimate setting. With the priest, there's something just very like serious about him, even though it can seem like you guys are talking or are gossiping about someone. With the priest archetype, and maybe he turns this into a ritual or a very intimate moment where the other person feels safe in sort of having this confession. I have, like, when we think about a priest, I have this confession to make, and I think that this is the right time and you are the right person. People trust him. I think that people trust him. People are like, I know I can tell you a few things because I trust you. There's something, I want to say, there's something holy about him. There's something that you are, he will never, use this, or expose me. I feel safe. Um, but definitely, I think that a lot of people feel the need to go to him and tell him things. So I don't know if maybe he has some kind of confessionary, or he has like a confession room, and people just go and they place their, maybe their hardships or their struggles or their worries. And there's something about him just turning this into a ritual of themselves, where he feels like, like the person really leaves the room, or just, goes away from this experience, and they feel like a new person. They feel just very, very different. They feel like they healed something, like they there was some kind of healing in this process. And also probably because they're like, I know he's not going to tell others. So I think that he's learning to be secretive, or to be, to be this, I will not share this with others. I think that initially it started with his need to know. Probably he's a very communicative person and he talks to a lot of people. So he knows a bit of gossip of this one and the other one. But I wonder if maybe what he's going through now, maybe, I don't know, he's like the leader, or he has a very important role in the group. So he grew. He actually is grown. He is a more mature person. So he keeps receiving information, but he handles that information with care. And also, I think that he has become much more serious and centered himself. This is why, when I saw the Three of Swords, I was like, did something happen with him? Did something happen to him? Because I think that initially it started being fun. When I saw the gossip card, I was like, oh, this is going to be so fun, him gossiping. But then, with the priest, and then we have the exorcist. So there's something about him sort of turning this into a practice of his, or actually being able to heal people, or to help people, get rid of bad feelings or negative feelings, negative thinking. Like, people feel renewed when they talk to him. So I wonder, how he went from just, being like, oh yeah, I'm listening to you, or we are just talking, we are chatting, to him having his own confessionary, him having his own confession room. Like, what happened in here. But I think that he there's something about his reality. Something happened in his life lately that I think that he he's a changed person, because there's something about him that, he could have the potential of being someone superficial if he wanted to. Also, maybe also the character that he shows to others, it can be, you know, a bit not superficial, but it can be like, oh, it's all fun and games. But actually, you know, something happened that he became this. He's sort of taking this exorcist kind of archetype, because he wanted to change himself. You know, there's something about him wanting to the exorcist and also the priest. You know, there's something about him wanting to get rid of a part of himself and just wanting to, you know, destroy parts of himself that he maybe felt like they weren't good. Like they weren't good. I don't know if this is like a religious sentiment or feeling, but there's something about him getting rid of impulses, or maybe, you know, bad thoughts, bad intentions, maybe what he considered that was wrong. And he was like, you know, I have to transform myself. I have to get rid of this. I have this compulsive behavior about this, and no, I want to change this. I don't want to be out of control. I don't want to be irresponsible. I want to set myself free from this. I don't want to say evil, but there's something about him just wanting to be a better person. So I wonder, you know, what happened, like what is, and maybe he became religious all of a sudden, but I don't know. I felt like he has this need of, like, you know, he doesn't want to like give in to temptation. There's something about him like, I don't want to give in to temptation. He doesn't want to be tempted. He doesn't want to make a false move or a false action, and for this to destroy everything that he has. This is why I feel like he had this need to exercise himself, you know, to get rid of all these. Maybe he had desires that he thought that they were inappropriate, that, you know, that no, I'm being selfish, or, you know, I'm not being considerate enough. I should be much more mindful. I should be much more respectful. So he definitely changed his whole mindset. And for me, this is like a very young man. So I wonder why. I wonder what happened. And also with the free of source, you know, sadness and isolation. So definitely he had been dealing with something, and trying to transform himself. Oh, I cannot see your recent comments, guys. Wait. Oh, what? Taesan is 20 and a Leo. Sorry, guys, I'm just reading here. Apparently he has a Gemini moon. So that's what I was like, you know, apparently he has a Gemini moon. So I was like, when I saw the gossip card, that of course not everyone that has that gets, like, you know, a gossip card, it means that it's a Gemini placement, but he gave me these air element vibes. I was like, why? It started being so funny, and then he became all serious, and I'm like, wow, what happened to you? Like, who converted you? Like, what happened? Someone in Boynextdoor had an underage smoking scandal, but I don't know who. Okay. 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 Maybe a reading for the bearded boy of Ateez, Sunghowa. Sunghowa. My tea got cold. I have a question. GD has initiated legal action against people leaving malicious comments. Will it become a norm where idols start keeping legal options open all the time in future? Will it become a norm where idols start keeping legal options open? Let's see. Yes and no. Yes and no. I think that we have the Ace of Swords. That when I saw the Ace of Swords, I was going to say yes, but no. The Hermit, and we have the Star card, and we have from the Oracle. It says, choose a new direction. Choose a new direction. So definitely, they say like it's not the way to go. Actually, to do this, even though it's a freedom of speech. Like from a sense of them, it would mean much more like protection. But with the Hermit and the Star, there's something about like, if you do this, people will start pulling away from you and you will lose. Like, I think that with the Star card, there's something like, yeah, but only powerful idols or powerful groups or influential groups and people can do it. You have to have the star quality. You have to be a star. If you are just maybe not a new group, but if you are just starting, or maybe you are not that famous, or it's like there's not much success, I think that the small groups will not be able to do this. No, because with the Ace of Swords and the Hermit, I think that the cards are like no, because it would isolate the person from the fan. There's something about like your whole job or your whole enterprise is about you being available and you being open to listen to your fans, or you wanting to engage with the fans, and having their reactions, their interactions. So if you do this, if you open these legal actions, these legal matters, you will end up alone. You will isolate yourself. The fans will get annoyed and they will go away, and yeah, they will leave you alone, but literally they will not support you anymore. So it's like, choose wisely, because with the star card, yes, it's like, yeah, you can do this and actually come back, and just people will respect you because you are a star. But if you are just a very small group, or you are not that successful, don't do it, because it's going to destroy the support that you have. And also, from the Oracle of the Angels, he says, choose a new direction. It's not the direction to do this. Like, it's not a bad idea, but you have to give it another direction. It's not that way. You have to go for another way. Yes. She got trolled even more after that. But honestly, the whole Dara thing, I don't understand why people like I kind of understood that she was 18 and the guy was 14, but she thought he was older. But they're both like not minors, like 18 is not a minor, but they were both of them teenagers. So, and I think that I don't know about the subject. So I don't know if, I think that people are taking things out of proportion. First of all, I'm tired, and this always happens like online, and I'm so tired of people using psychology terms to mention something. Like, not everything is grooming. Stop it with the misuse of the word grooming. Like, I'm so done with these people. I'm so done. Because the same thing they did with, what was it? The word gaslighting and gaslight. Like, I'm so tired of these people using the term the wrong way, that I think that you can name it inappropriate. You can be inappropriate behavior. You can say whatever you want to say, but is grooming is different. Grooming is serious. Like just like gaslighting. It's a lot of years of doing this continuously. It's not for someone that wanted to date but they didn't date, but they started dating and then they broke up. It's not for an instant interaction. Like, I'm so tired. And also, another thing that I think that it annoys me the most, when people call narcissists their exes. Like, you can have dated a very awful person that treated you very poorly, and that they cheated on you, and that they were unfaithful, and that they were, very toxic, or they were very hurtful towards you. But that doesn't mean that all of a sudden now everyone has toxic, not toxic, everyone has like narcissistic exes. And I'm like, okay, okay. She was 19, he was 14, but she lied to him that she lied to him. Okay. Well, and I remember that, I don't know if I saw the clip. I think that she was laughing when she was telling this anecdote or something like this, but it wasn't like a proper relationship, right? I think that she was like talking about the past experience, and she said something about ages. I remember the age part, but yeah, it's disrespectful to people who actually have been groomed. Yeah. That's the Western fans coming in with the comments on Korean scandals. This is the terminology. Narcissism isn't a specific thing. Everyone is a narcissist. Stop it. Yeah. And also, like in psychology, we all have a bit of narcissism in ourselves. We all have a bit of narcissism. Of course, that, it's not like we can be a bit narcissist as well. If you, it's so complex to explain, but I just want to express how, every time I read a comment, it's like always like, oh, my ex was a narcissist. I dated a narcissist. Like, did you all date the same person, or what is going on? Like, I also had a toxic ex with a lot of traits of narcissism, but at the same time, I also have to, be responsible to our story, to my dating story, and being like, I was also, I was also awful, and maybe I was the narcissist. Maybe he's talking about me in another social media, saying that I was the narcissist. So who knows? You never know when you are the bad guy in someone's story. So you can be the narcissist for someone else. Yeah, I don't know about Korea, but they will be illegal in Mexico then. Yeah, in Argentina, I believe too. Yes. I thought that and the boy only went out once, but it wasn't like a real relationship. Yeah, that's what I understood. I remember I saw a clip when this whole scandal went up, when she was talking about this as if you tell experience that you had when you were a teenager or a young adult, not in your 20s. And she was talking about it just very casually. And then this whole thing blew up, and I was like, oh, well, okay. I understand why people, because also the part that she lied, that part, yeah, it was like, why would you lie? Like, and it's really funny because usually girls, they lie about their age, but they say that they're older. I remember when I used to have a crush on guys that were usually older than me, and I used to lie about my age. They wouldn't believe me because I always had, like, I always would look like I was younger than my age. But it's very interesting that she said that she told this guy that she was younger. I was like, But I remember from what I seen, she was so casually talking about it because it wasn't like in a relationship. It was an experience. This is the thing when I'm like, there's some conversations that you choose. It doesn't matter how comfortable you are. It happens the same with people when they go to podcasts, and they get so comfortable and they start ranting about their experiences. And you never know, guys. There could be someone that could actually, take the wrong way what you said, or they get offended, or there's something about the way you said things. Like, remember when I used to read cards for a certain actor and their fans, they would get angry at me because I call him the guy. Remember that? That I also had that. And I'm just a nobody on the internet. So there's always going to be someone that is going to hate us and the way we communicate and what we say and what we don't say. And there are different degrees of narcissism from what I read. Yes, exactly. Some are harmless in the sense that just suck all the energy out of you. Yeah. I remember when I was a teenager, I read an article that it was about emotional vampires. In back then in the early 2000s, the word narcissism wasn't relevant, but there were like the emotional vampires. So that also, I don't know if it was because of Twilight or what, but it was like, oh yeah, that person is like, it's like an emotional vampire. They're going to take all the energy from you. um, oh no, Vanessa, I have a beautiful friend who is in her mid 50s, but is still nice, so she's in her mid 50s. Ah, well. We can forgive her. She's trying to live her best life. I'm still a teenager myself. For me, when I say the 2000s, when I say early 2000s, for me, this happened like 10 years ago. Yeah, there's different stages too. Like, people pleasers are usually in the passive narcissist stage, unless they go to therapy. They will go to the selfish toxic stage as well. It's a very effective imaginary, though emotional vampire. I still use emotional vampire. It just fits for some people. Yeah, yeah. And also, one thing that then when I became a counselor, I started, noticing this, that maybe, there were some people that they were recovering after breaking up with, from a very toxic, ex, or a very abusive relationship. And it's very interesting when you are like, accompanying this person therapeutically, the amount of anger that they have installed in themselves. Like, maybe, in this abusive relationship, in this experience of abuse, they weren't able to, defend themselves. But from what I noticed is that as soon as they enter into a new relationship, or with probably someone that treats them better, they become the abusive ones. There's something about them, like, sort of becoming the abuser, or, I think that is part of, defending themselves, like somehow it's part of the trauma of you having to you feeling helpless, and you feeling like, you couldn't defend yourself. That, as soon as you feel like you can trust, or you feel safe, you also start like being an abuser. Not all of them, of course. I'm not generalizing. I'm not making a generalization, but I noticed that. And I was like, wow, like, you really say that this person is like a great partner for you, that you are doing better, that you're happy. But it seems like you are very angry at them. Like, you're very angry at your current partner, but actually they haven't done anything to you. So, we have to go through this and sort of, put it into words, and give it a correct place, for that person to not get stuck into this resentment, or using these self mechanisms of like, I'm always angry. And the thing is that they don't realize that they are projecting this anger to someone that actually didn't do anything wrong so far. So, there's a lot of healing to do. There's a lot of trauma as well. So this is why, sometimes when people are like, oh, because, I dated a narcissist and I was like, and I was like, oh my God, you have no idea what the victims go through. First of all, the victims, like they, it's really hard for them. It takes years for them to be able to put it into words, the kind of suffering that they went through. It's tough. Yeah. The victim becoming the abuser is so sad. I've seen it firsthand. Yeah. And protecting themselves, preventing anything to happen to them by attacking first. What a terrible cycle. Same with kids who have been abused too sometimes. Yes. Yeah. It's so sad. It's so sad. Because, the first thing I notice is like, you seem to be doing better, but it seems like the happier you are or the more content you seem to be, the more angry you are. So that's something that there's a lot of work to do to get rid of that or to separate. It's like, because you are and they sometimes recognize that they get out of control and they're like, no, because maybe I'm sensitive, or maybe I have a bad day, but no, it comes from previous experiences. mm. Mm. I always blame it to my moon in Scorpio. That I'm actually very like, stingy with the person that I like. I usually love to pick on the person that I like. And I don't want to say that I'm mean. Like, I don't want to say that I'm mean, but I'm mean. But I'm very like confrontative with the person that I love in my intimacy. Like, I really am. I can be a bit harsh, but I really love the person, and I can be like this. I swear that I'm like, wow, definitely I'm a very interesting case. But I do recognize it in myself. Like, I do recognize it that, I can be so nice as a friend, a colleague, in other aspects of my life. But once I am in intimacy with someone, I get very harsh, and yeah, sometimes I do need the other person to, put me in my place, or to put the boundaries and be like, don't talk to me like that, or don't say that, or why are you saying this? Because yeah, it's not okay. It's not okay. But I don't know. If you ask me, I would say, like, I really love the person. Like, I don't want to be mean because I don't like them. I actually like them. This is why I do it. My moon and my rising held me back from fulfilling my sun purpose. No, I'm very like, I make these very like rough comments, I'm very like honest, like raw honest, like raw honesty. And it can sound like I don't like them, but actually I do like them. I think I always say that it's my Venus and Mars conjunction. I'm very aggressive. Yeah, I remember you said that. I sort of get it. It's like with your person. Yeah, the ugliest part of you. Yeah, I sort of put them to the test. I'm like, if you sort of get away with, if you don't mind, me being a bit, a bit harsh, like not offensive, because I don't offend the other person. It's just that I'm very confrontative in the sense that if I have something to tell you, especially to my partner, I feel the need that to my partner I have to be honest, I have to be blunt, I have to be very direct. At least that's how I like it. If I feel like I cannot do this because the person is going to break, it's very sensitive, it's very like, I don't talk about these things, or don't talk to me. Or if I feel like I don't have an understanding, I'm like, we are not compatible. We are not compatible. Mm. Yeah, that's what I cannot deal with in a relationship. It would trigger my fight instinct. My mind is like, I need to tell you what's wrong with you so you fix it, while I'm 100 times more insane, but I'm working on being calmer. Like if they see the depths of you and still accept you, they pass the test. Yeah. I have been as Pluto, so I sort of understand the way of thinking and wanting to see the nastiest part of the partner too. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like, I always invite my partners to, it's not like, oh, tell me your secrets. No, it's like, tell me if you're angry at me, if there's something that you don't like, or just tell me. Just tell me. Like, I'm not going to break. What I don't accept is lying. I don't, this is why sometimes with Libra placements, I cannot with Libra placements, because they always try to make you and picture you like, oh, you're perfect. There's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect. You're amazing. You're a goddess. And I'm like, you're the love of my life. And probably you just met me. You met me like 3 weeks ago, and I'm already the woman of your dreams. And I'm like, I cannot with people that I cannot. I'm like, no, 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 no. It's like that's so dishonest. Like, no, don't paint me, a beautiful, landscape. No, just tell me what you think, what you really think. I'm harsh to the rest of the world, but very tender with whoever is my life partner at the moment. Oh, this cute also. This also, I believe that this is the right balance as well. The person that actually is harsh, maybe because their experiences or their role in their lives, they have to be harsh, or they have to be very direct in their, everyday life. But when it comes to the romantic side, they actually are very tender. And I think that that's also very beautiful, because they're able to be like, yeah, this is me on the outside. Actually, I'm a romantic on the inside. So I love it. I love it. Yeah, like with Scorpio Pluto, you are never too satisfied with just the pretty and nice surface level. You want to see the ugly very underneath. And there's a lot of suspicion too in general. Yeah. Or maybe I'm back because I agree with the lying part and wanting to see the dark side of partner. It's like I prefer to see, your defects and be like, okay, yeah, we have defects, fine. As a Libra woman, they would make me run. I got traumatized by excessive unwanted attention since childhood. Yeah, that's one of the things about Libra. Yeah, I feel so sorry for Libra placements sometimes, for the unwanted attention. Men and women, both of them. Taurus placements as well, but Taurus is different. Taurus is more like, is they're more realistic. If there's a bit of like, okay, what is it in it for me? But for Libra, Libra is more like they're the hopeful romantic. So sometimes, people just like, people get obsessed with them. People that have Libra placements, people just get obsessed with them, and just because they are nice with someone. That I always tell Libra people to not be nice with the strangers. Like, I remember I had a very young coworker, and I used to tell her, don't smile at men that often. And she was like, oh, but why? Because they will take it the wrong way. I was like, okay, I'm sorry that I'm being like this very, old aunt of yours. Like, I'm sort of be like this very, you know, Asian woman, ancient woman. But I have to tell you, like, don't don't smile too much. Just keep your pretty smile for the people that you care about, because in the workplace, yeah, it's beautiful until comes to time to say bye. Then the harshness had to come out from the blue. Yeah. Whenever I see someone asking for someone being obsessed with them, I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, that's one of the things that I don't like. Um, I don't like it. Maybe, in this sense, because I have my midheaven in Libra, but I also have Venus and Mars in Pisces. So, sometimes the partners that I attract, they tend to fantasize a lot about me, and our experience. They seem to be like in sort of trance where they don't really see me. They see me more like this ethereal person, and yeah, I can be spiritual and anything, but I'm also a real person. And they are like, no, but you're perfect. Oh no, but like, other. And I think that, especially when I was younger, I would always wanted to run away from someone calling me their perfect soulmate. Like, I was like, I don't know you. You don't know me. Like, I am not that special. Like, I hated when men would look at me like that, and they would put me in this sort of pedestal as if I was like a kind of fairy or something like this. I was like, no, I don't know. I just felt like this is why I always also been afraid of people obsessing with me. I was like, don't get obsessed with me, because I will run away. I don't like that kind of attention. And I so empathize with you, Dania, when you say that there's a lot of women that actually they pray, they I don't know, they just want so much for a specific person to be obsessed with them. And I think that that's the most dangerous, uncomfortable feeling ever. When someone is obsessed with you, because they are not really seeing you for who you are. They are just seeing you for what they are fantasizing about. So it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous, because once the bubble explodes, oh, you're the worst. So no, no. That's why maybe I'm mean on purpose. So they can dislike me. Mm, yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. My dog is obsessed with me. That's enough for me. Me too. My dog fights with everyone in my life. It's awful in this. Yeah. I also feel it. I feel like, um I don't know. I feel disgusted, honestly, when I see that someone is too fixated on me. I have this is why maybe I never dated a Scorpio. We always talk about this, that I never dated a Scorpio, because I think that it makes me uncomfortable when they get that attached to me. And probably I never dated a Scorpio, but I dated a lot of Taurus men, and I had very ugly breakups with them, because they wouldn't let go. They wouldn't go away, and I was like, you need to move on. I don't want to keep seeing you like it's over. And they wouldn't leave, and they would act like we never had the conversation of breaking up. And they would show up at the next day and talk to my family or talk to my friends as if nothing happened. And that was the most terrifying experience ever. This is why I have this thing when sometimes I meet a Taurus man or a Taurus placements. I'm like, no, I have this karma with them. I don't know, maybe it's because my north node is in Taurus, so I attract a lot of Taurus men. And I remember in astrology I read somewhere that that Taurus and Scorpio, they are they are like opposites of each other. And there's something about everyone talking about like, oh, Scorpio is the obsessive one, but Taurus actually is very obsessive as well. I seen it. I seen it and it frightened me. And also I was very annoyed at their inability to move. Like I think that that's so scary. Like everyone talks about how because Taurus is very, is very like um inflexible, or they are very stubborn, or they are very like consistent. Like for me, the way they wouldn't get out of my way, that would trigger my strong survival instincts. Like, get out of my face. I don't want to see you. Like, get out of my way. Like, I just want to advance, never see you again. And here you are standing like this rock in here. Like, get out. You are boring. Like, it's so scary, guys. It's so scary. Like, I think that I would prefer 1,000 times to have a very nasty, very nasty and angry, and a breakup or discussion with the Scorpio person, where we can, diss at each other and just being very angry with each other and just being awful, instead of having a Taurus person in front of me that doesn't move. Oh no. Mm, yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you're from a culture where it's your fault and they're just poor guys who can help it worse, even my mom blamed me. Oh no, but not surprising from that woman. Yeah, yeah. I notice a lot of Libra placements. They would be like, oh, it's because you're so beautiful, and it's because you look like that. So what do you expect? And it's like, what does it have to do with? Is it back, guys? I turn it on again to see if it works. I swear I did charge this one. This one is the one that lasts longer. I did charge it all night, and I don't know what happened. It doesn't turn on. I don't know what happened. I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of this. No, I was saying that I'm matured. Like I matured. I don't think that I'm very blessed with Scorpios in my life. I think that this is like the reason. My mom was a Scorpio. My grandma from my dad's side was a Scorpio. I seen the struggles of being a Scorpio in my family generation. So I think that there must be a reason why, as a partner or a potential as a potential partner, there's it's like life is like, go and look for something else, look for another kind of energy. um I do also know a lot of Aries, because in my household I have the He's running out of battery. He's running out of battery. You guys are going to have to hear me without a mic. I know it's going to sound awful, but you're going to have to hear me like this. Okay. Okay. But yeah, like I said, I have a lot of Scorpios in my life. I have a lot of Aries in my life. I think I don't need any more. I think that life is like, go and look for another sign. I don't know, look for another kind of sign. I have no idea. Sorry guys. I do have very dry lips. I do like Sagittarius men. Maybe it's because I have Jupiter in the first house, and they say that where Jupiter is like the house of your husband or potential, long-term husband material. And I do like Sagittarius men, or men that have a strong Sagittarius placements. But I think that about Scorpio, there's no need, because I already have it. I also have it in my South Node. So probably, I had been dealing with the Scorpio energy for a very long time. So, so it's maybe, there's something about my energy that is like, you already have it in you. You already have it in your friends. You already have it in your family. Like, you've seen how tough it is. You've seen how sometimes they destroy their own happiness, or sometimes how they are not able to find happiness, and how traumatic sometimes it is to change as a Scorpio, or maybe as a Taurus. So um, I think that the with all my Scorpio placements, it's really tough. A lot of people talk about, rebirth and a lot of things, but actually Scorpio placements are also very obsessive, or very, I don't think obsessive, but very fixated on certain traumatic things. We don't forget easily. And I noticed that the influence, or the people that were big influence in my life for me to learn how to move on and to get on with my life is Aries people. Is Aries people. I always had Aries bosses, Aries friends. My dad is an Aries. My dad went through a lot of hardships in his life, but he never stopped. He never stopped a single day of his life. He's still in his. He's about to be 80 in a few days, and he never stops. He always gets up early. He does what he has to do. He grabs his bike. He goes to buy groceries. He comes back. Then he goes and works on something else. He's always like changing, arranging something. So I think that, he is like, I know, because I'm a double Capricorn, there's people that are like, oh, because, dad issues or father issues. I swear, I don't have an issue with my dad. I think that maybe if I have a wound, it would be with my mom. But with my dad, no, because he's like this embodiment of, sometimes you just have to go to life and live it. Just show up. Even if you don't know how, just go and do it. You want to get out of the cycle, you want to get out of depression, you want to get out of this constant loop of feeling sorry for yourself, go and do something. Get up and do something. You are not dead. You are not incapacitated. Go and do something. So um, I think that that's something very valid, and I am so thankful for the Aries people that I know, because they had shown me that, yeah, it's so cool with being sensitive and just, being introspective, and you can like, yeah, I have these ideas, and I want this to be like this, but go get things done. You just go, you know. Mm. Mm-hmm. Capricorn could also mean that your father is very influential and important to your life, not just study issues. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But with the thing with my dad is that I always, now that I'm older, like I am starting to appreciate him more. But I always took him for granted, because since my mom always was the one that would set the rules, because she was the more like mysterious one, the one that would give me the silent treatment. She would be manipulative, or she would remove her love and attention from me anytime she would get upset. So there's something about the child, the child is always looking for the one that we feel like we have to fight for their attention. I always had the feeling that my mom probably also, dealt with maybe some kind of depression, any satisfaction in her own life for all the hardships that she had. So emotionally, she wasn't very available, to understand me, to understand how I felt, even though she was, she was um, um, a water sign herself. There's something about her just not really knowing how to deal with my emotions. She never knew how to deal with an emotional deep child. Never. Never. She was like, oh, we don't talk about that, or no, 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 don't say that, or just don't talk. And for me, since I've always been very communicative, it's really hard to not say. That's why I wanted to become a counselor, or that's why I wanted to help others, because I wanted to give this help that maybe I never, I always had all my needs met, but I didn't have the emotional support that I needed. I didn't have the listening part, that part of acceptance. Um, and my dad is like, it took me, for me, from actually my mom passed away, it took me, for my mom to actually go away, like not go away, but pass away. It caused me her absence to actually like look at my dad, and be like, oh, I have to work with, I have to live with this guy, or I have to, oh, I have to take care of him, or I have to build like a more, um, a more um, consistent relationship, because I was always looking at my mom. So my dad is like, I always been like secure that, yeah, he was there, he was always the provider, but I never looked at him, except when I wanted something, but I would never look at him like a person. And then I started seeing him, and I'm still amazed. This is why sometimes, when for me, when it comes to men and relationships, I cannot date a man that is incapable of being responsible in a relationship. So if you want to be with me, or if you want me, you have to work for me, like in the sense that you have to put the effort and decide that it's me that you want, because I cannot be with an indecisive man, or someone that is like, oh yeah, it's with me, but I don't know, he's dating other people, so oh yeah, I have so many options, like I don't know what we are. Like for me, that's not a possibility. I don't understand, people like you with that mentality. Like I don't understand with being someone's option. Like I want to be the main attraction. Like I want to be the only one, and if you cannot give me that, then I pass. Like I never was like the kind of person that I would get obsessed if someone, would be engaged or would have a girlfriend, and I would be like, oh, I want that man, even though he's taken, I want him. No, no, not at all. If you're taken, you go with the person that you belong to. And if you are confused about me, but you are taken, like get out of my face, because no, no. Disloyal people, no. Mm. Also, since you are Cap Scorpio Mars rules Scorpio and is exalted in Capricorn, so it makes sense you're drawn to Aries, in addition to your dad being one and it being a familiar energy. Yeah. And also, I was thinking that I have the fourth house in Aries, and the other day I was listening to a girl that it said that the fourth house is literally like the energy, or the energy that you exude when you are in your home. And I swear that it's like this. I am at my home. I am at the times that I'm at home. I get very hyperactive. Like, how we are doing this, that we are remodeling, that, I'm helping him move a lot of things and doing a lot of physical effort. I'm also here with you guys. It's not like, I'm sitting just drinking a tea and just like, I'm doing something. I get very excited when I'm in my house. I always try to do something like fun, or I'm always thinking about like, okay, how can I do this and change this? I am not like relax at my house. I get very hyperactive at home. Or if I have to clean and I have to move things, I love to move things around. So I get very like Aries in my house. I get like very Aries, like active. Like I go to my dad's house and I'm like, oh, we need to clean this and we need to move this from place and we need to replace this. And I'm always like, my dad looks at me like, you know what? You just got home from work. Like, why don't you sit down? And I'm like, I cannot. I have ideas. I want us to do something. uh, Show consistency and intention through action. Yeah, for House of Family, what feels like home? Mine is in Cap. I feel at home on your channel. The product, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My mother has Aries for house. She's too active for me in daily life. I'm like, can you chill for 2 seconds? I swear my dad also looks at me like, because I'm always like, Dad, I had this idea, we should paint this and then change this. And he's like, and he's such a great guy because he does it at the end. But sometimes I think that he looks at me like, like, why don't you go and watch TV? This is my house, but I take over his house. I go over to his house and I'm like, Dad, I had an idea. He's such a cute. I think that in that sense, I'm so thankful that, I know Capricorn people that they don't have, sometimes they don't even know who their father is, or they have father figures that disappeared. And every time I see my dad, I'm like, I'm so grateful in this experience as a double cup, and being able to say I have a great relationship with my dad. I'm not traumatized by my dad. And actually I can really see in him, and a lot of people that know my dad, they are like, he always wanted you. Like he always wanted you when you were a tiny baby, when you have no idea how excited he was when you were born, that they had to wait because I was, premature, and I was this tiny little thing, and he would just, carry me in his hand, and he would show me off to everyone, because for him I'm like the best of the best. And my godfather the other day, we were talking about it. He was like, it makes me emotional to remember, how much they wanted you, how much they loved you, how much they wanted to see you grow. They wanted to show you off to everyone, even though you were this tiny little thing that we didn't know if you were going to grow. And I was like, that's a great experience. And sometimes I'm like, this is because I am a Jupiter in the first house, and the sun is in the first house. So there's something about me, like I'm like, you know, I I'm lucky in that sense, because I'm just me and I'm loved. And this is why sometimes I think that I'm always very reiterative with you guys about the self, about the personality, about who you are. Because it's not about appearances. It's not about, I have a lot of health issues. I always had them. I always had a lot of, like, my upbringing, like the way I have a lot of health issues. I'm not perfect. I don't know, how as I age, how my health issues are going to impact in my life. I don't know how long I'm going to live. But what I can say is that for me, it's important that you guys remember who you are. That you reaffirm yourself and if you don't like something about yourself, change it, but change the self, change the way you view yourself, your self-image, reinvent yourself, change and love it, and also teach people to love you, and to accept you. And if you don't receive that, don't settle for less. Just move and go and find your people. Go and find your people, but don't stay comfortable in a place where someone doesn't like the way you are. Because i I am like this, but I also know a lot of people that are very different from me. Usually the underdogs. I do have, like, a sympathy for people that had their issues and everything. And for me, they're so special, and I love them, and they're so different from me, and I love them. And I'm like, okay, if you are a part of my life, I'm going to accept you and I'm going to love you. Of course, I'm going to complain from time to time about you, but I'm going to be loyal and I'm going to love you and let you know why I love you and what I love about you. So when you are with someone that they refuse to make you feel important or special, or they refuse to give you your place, don't settle for that. Don't get used to the feeling of, like, someone make you feel inadequate, like, oh, you're to this, you're to that. So I always say, if you don't like the way I am, move on. I'm going to find someone that is going to like the way I am, with my defects and all. So this is why, when you know yourself, when you know even the good and the bad, when you know yourself, when you show up with authenticity, you just, it's I always think that, like, there's a lot of people that when they meet me in person, they feel intimidated by me because I do have a strong presence. I don't know what I do, or I don't know how I move, or I don't know what I say. But initially, there's people that don't like me because I take a lot of space. And I don't know why, but they just feel threatened by me, as if I'm going to steal something from them. And I'm actually, then this person, these people start, like, befriending me or be friends with me. And they're like, actually, you turn out to be really cool. But at the beginning, I thought you were, a bit too much. But yeah, I can be a lot of things, honestly. Like, I'm a box full of surprises. I'm not mean. I'm just someone that, like I told you, sometimes, yeah, I had, when I was younger, I was too, maybe, like, I would say things out of place, or maybe, say something that you're like, what did you say that, but I'm also humble, and I'm like, okay, I make mistakes. Sorry, I apologize if I'm, you know. Mm. When you speak Spanish, you guys. Yes, I know. Yeah, yeah. Yes, I know. I have, like, a much, like, A strong tone, yes, I know. Yeah, my voice is actually very sweet in English, but when I speak in Spanish, is a bit lower. It's a bit lower. I don't have. I always struggle with my voice because I don't like the sound of my voice in Spanish. Um, Especially when I had to record certain sessions and everything. Like I would be like, "That's the way I talk. That's the way I sound." But then I realized that I'm like, my teacher told me, she was like, we all have different voices. Like, it is what it is. It's not the sound of your voice, it's what you communicate. Um, yeah, I can sound bossy. I know people, I can sound bossy. That's the thing that I think that sometimes people are like, who is this? Because I sound like I'm very convinced, or I don't know. I think that the older I get, I tend to not talk that much. I listen more. I listen, but even when I'm not saying anything, people are scared of me. They are scared of me. I don't know. I think that they feel like maybe it's the posture, maybe it's the rigidness. They fear me as if I was like a sort of regulator of them, as if I came to regulate them, as if I came to set the law, okay, as if I'm like, judging you. But actually, I'm judging no one. I'm just minding my business. Um, but yeah, if I actually, I'm a very I smile. When I smile, you forget because I'm actually a very smiley person. I smile a lot. But yeah, initially when I don't know people, I can be a bit, yeah. I'm a bit, yeah, not so nice. Especially because I'm sort of like seeing like um, um, especially with men. I'm like. Yeah, people are always scared of me as well. Most of my good friends hated me at first. Yes, I have that too. Then they're like, "Oh, but you were so cool, I was so," and I love it when they tell me that. I love it. I think that the more I love is befriending, is becoming friends with the Scorpios. I just love it. I love it. As soon as they tell me like I'm a Scorpio, I love to become their friends because they don't want to talk to me. They don't want to talk to me. And I'm like asking them questions and following them around. And they are like, yeah, no, yeah, I have to go. And I'm like following them around. And I'm like, really? What do you like? And what do you? And oh, and then they're so sweet. They're like the sweetest people. But the way I annoy them, they're like, I cannot stand this person that is asking me all these questions. Like, why do you want to know so much about me? And I just want to be their friend. And then they are the ones that follow me around. Then they are the ones that get jealous. They are like, oh, I don't want you to talk to someone else. Like we go on a break, like on a lunch break. They want us to go just the two of us. They don't want me to invite other people. Usually at my workplace, I'm also very popular. People fight to go to lunch breaks with me. Yeah, people fight to go to lunch breaks with me. I'm very popular. I've always been popular, I must say. I don't know why, because I don't consider myself like, oh, I'm a beauty or oh, I'm amazing, but I don't know, just people love me like that. And they get possessive. The other day I went to see my cousin, and she had an emergency. She had to go to the hospital, but I had just arrived at her house, and she was like, "Oh no, you just came here. We wanted to talk because it's been so long." And she was like, "Oh, but I have to go," and I was like, "That's okay," because her teenage daughter was there, my niece.
So I was like, I will stay with her. You go and get yourself checked, and then I will wait. So she was like, oh, okay. And I stayed with my cousin. She's like, how old is she? I believe she's 16. She's a Taurus. And we were chatting, having mate. We were like the two old best friends. And then my cousin came and she was like, oh, I'm so sorry, that I missed, that you had to wait for me. And my niece, the Taurus girl, she was like, oh man, you shouldn't have come back, because actually, me and her, we are talking about really interesting things. So if you can go away, it would be the best. And they would start like, picking on each other and arguing. And she was like, no, but she's my friend. She's not your friend. So go away. And she was like, no, but we were talking. We were talking. My niece would be like, no, but now we are friends. Now we are best friends. So they were arguing about me. So usually they do that. My Leo friend in high school, after I gave her my book because I thought we were just all cool, she gave it back to me and she told me, thank you. I don't dislike you anymore. And it's been 9 years. That's how we became friends. Yeah. Oh, but then fighting is hilarious. I'm like, okay. Okay. Okay, someone said that, it was Ateez Sunghoon birthday, so yeah, I'm going to pull cards for him. Enough about me. Let's go back to the real stars of the show. Ateez Sung. What is going on with Ateez members? Because I don't know if it was Juno that he also had, like, but it's going to be okay. But they got the Five of Cups in, I don't know if it was in the center of the reading, but I remember the Five of Cups as well. So there's a lot of regret. So I wonder what is going on with them. Okay, for someone, we start with the Two of Wands. We have the Fool. We have the Five of Cups in the middle, Eight of Cups, and Two of Pentacles. And then from the other deck, we have the Ace of Wands, New Vitality. I mean, I think that this this year, it's also a year where probably someone will have to deal with this feeling of feeling sorry for the things that he cannot accomplish. Or I think that there's a lot of new beginnings, definitely. Like, I don't know if they are on tour, or there's like a new beginning, there's new activities, but it feels like things are not going well. Things don't have a structure. I see it here. The only pentacles that I have is the Two of Pentacles at the end. So there's something very, very strong about adaptability and also flexibility. Things for someone this year are not going to be, that stable. There's something about him having to accept this and not feeling so sorry or so worried for others. I think that, he's going to move on from this feeling of like, oh, we wanted to do this, but we cannot do this, we cannot be there, so I feel sorry because we promised people that we would be there, and at the end we will not make it. Or maybe also that he maybe accepts something but loses another opportunity. I see him also very fixated looking at the past, like, I should have said yes to this. but then we said this to this other thing, so we have to move on because we already promised people. I think that it has to do with the fans. There's something about him feeling very emotional. They're definitely trying, and they're going to try new things. There's something about new beginnings here with the two of wands. Also, we have the ace of wands, new vitality. So it's going to be very productive. They're going to keep being, at least from Sungwa's energy, him being an Aries man. He's going to go back to be his vital self. He's going to create something very passionate, very much, his style with all his energy. But probably the first half of the year, it seems like there's a lot of upside downs. There's a lot of inconsistency, or maybe things that they have to redo, or things that they have to start all over, or they have to lose something to win another thing. So he's going to feel a bit sensitive about, like, oh, we let people down because this is not what we wanted. This is not. um yeah, yeah, things are not going to be very stable this year for him. And he also it's because he's very sensitive. I have the five of cups, and the eight of cups. And I think that this also, since it's in the middle, the five of cups, the five of cups is a card that also, it talks about mourning, or it talks about, the process of mourning, or the process of, you having to accept that maybe you're mourning that you lost something, and that's okay. Maybe someone has been dealing with the feeling of, like, I'm still upset, or I'm still hurt, or I'm still hurting for something that happened in the past. um, I think that, when it comes to activities and his ability to be energetic, and his ability to be passionate, and his ability to move on and see future projects and just being there, when it comes to action, he's so good to recovery in that. But I think that emotionally, maybe something happened in his emotional life that he is still grieving. He's still in this grief period, and that probably this year is also going to be a year of him feeling a bit down, or him, feeling like he was over this feeling of sadness, or he was over this loss. But then, the memory comes back and it's not entirely healed. But then we have the eight of cups. So the eight of cups is also this energy of, him finally accepting that, okay, yeah, I had been for a while like this, but now I have to move on. Now emotionally I have to advance. And he's going to recover. It's just that I think that he's going through something, like, and there's moments where he's so busy and he's not acknowledging this, that is going on. But then, something happens and he's reminded of this wound. But yeah, the two of pentacles, it's like there's going to be a lot of new adventures, probably a lot of new places to go, a lot of movement, a lot of changes in their itinerary or in their schedules. So he will just have to adapt and start over like they always do. um, it's just that things are very much in the air. There's this feeling of, like, I always, whenever I read for Ateez, I get this feeling of, like, they they are definitely the guys, they are definitely the group that they always have the ace of wands. They always have to come back with this new vitality, because this is not a group that their success is like, settled on strong foundations. I think that their success and their originality is very strong, is very powerful, but at the same time they always have to keep the engines running all the time. It's like they cannot lack forces. They cannot lack in attempts. They always have to be passionate, motivated, impulsive. ready to go, ready to put a lot of effort, ready to, get a lot of force, a lot of movement, a lot of physical labor. There's something about them not being able to just sit on their, smell the roses and be like, well, we had been in the industry for a while, so we will be able to take a break, or we will be able to, I don't know, just, go away for a while and just sit and watch people admire us from afar. Like, no, no, because I think that this also has to do that, maybe Ateez also, it's a very passionate group that maybe, their style is to be vital, is to have this vitality all the time, is to be like the Ace of Wands. I always tell you that the Ace of Wands is the phallic symbol. So there's something honestly about, like, definitely, like, they always have to show that they are excited all the time, all the time. They cannot show Ateez being, mediocre, or just being like, just like, yeah, today I decided to be mid, or today I decided to be. No, they always have to be this very fiery energy, very turned on, very hot. And for them, it's like, probably for someone like Sunghowa, it's like, but what about my feelings, and what about all these things that I feel or that I regret about, the way we are moving, that it seems like they're not going to stop. But there's this feeling of, like, I am feeling a bit sad about and disappointed about certain things that I thought that I was over this, but I'm not over. Uh, the dude on the two of pentacles card always looks funny for me with his hat. Yes. Yes. But yeah, they will come back passionate, like always. It's like they will come back. It's just that maybe they have this period where that energy lowers, and this is why he gets. It's just that it's so demanding. You cannot be all the time like the Ace of Wands, like all the time, like, oh yeah, I'm inspired, like a brand new beginning. This is exciting. Like, they always have to bring that energy. And probably maybe they see others, maybe they do compare themselves with other groups that maybe they don't even, put like the half of the energy that they do. And maybe these people win more recognition, or they are able to rest, or they are able to have like better vacation, or better treatment. I don't know. And I think that for them it's like they can never rest, you know so it's like the bar is really high for Ateez. Also, people are used to seeing them in that energy, and they cannot settle for less. People are like, I refuse to. I like, Ateez has to always be on, because we don't settle for less. They raise my standards through the roof when it comes to live performances. Yeah, they make me feel like, also, like, I feel like, I don't like, I never watch. When I was younger, I did watch a play, a theater play, but I'm a bit like, sometimes I don't have the patience to sit through maybe I haven't watched the right theater play. uh, but whenever I see, Ateez perform, I feel like I'm watching, like, at a theater. I feel like I'm watching a play. Like, it feels very live. It feels very, like they really put on the character. They really, like, put on, like, everything. It's much more than dancing to the choreography. It's about them entering in their characters. It's amazing. Yes, like a musical with the intensity of a rock concert or something. Fluffy, are you still watching Possessive? No, Possessive, no, Possessed Love, the dating show? I dropped it. I don't know why. I know the rabbit girl appeared. I did watch a few clips, but I don't know why. I'm not interested. Like I think that the house the interactions between them, it feels very flat, like very like boring. Like I don't know. Even the dates, I don't know what is it, because they do interact, but it feels so like as soon as someone like enters the house, it seems like they get used to each other, and there's this feeling of like them, it seems like, yeah, them living together as roommates. But I don't see, yeah, they talk about spirituality or whatever their practice is, but there's no seduction, there's no, like, what is going on? Like, you're supposed to attract someone in that show, like, what are you doing? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I lost interest. I swear. I don't want to watch it. Like, I remember the first episodes, I was so eager to watch it. And then I was like, oh, I have to look for the new episode. Oh, I don't want to. Maybe I will watch the finale to see what happened. But, oh no. Hmm. But it's a bit the Korean way too, in a way. Is it like that on every Korean reality shows? No, I mean, the only one I watched was Singles Inferno, but because Singles Inferno, there's a lot of physical, like in the sense that they have the possibility to go to, to this hotel. So, people try really hard to get out of the Inferno. So they get competitive like that. Um, and the girls, they dress up, they're always like, showing themselves, like, wearing makeup and just styling their hair and everything. They always get ready for dates, because yeah, they have to impress the other part. But um I'm also impressed that they're always in these kind of shows. Like, I'm no expert in cooking, and especially if I look back at my 20s, like, I always dated people that knew how to cook, because I'm terrible at cooking. And now I learned, as the year passed, I learned to cook, but I know how to cook things that I like to eat. I'm no expert on, like, there's people that do bake. They go into bakery and they do a lot of cakes and cupcakes and all. I have no idea how to do those things, or to decorate, or to do like birthday cakes. I'm like, no. But I'm impressed, at every time in these dating shows, in the first episodes, when they have to get together to be like, okay, what do we eat, what do we do for lunch or breakfast? None of them know how to cook or to even cut an onion. And I was like, what? Like, if I know I'm going to be in a show, on a TV show, at least I'm going to do something useful. I'm going to go and wash the dishes. I'm going to do something. Like, I'm on TV, like, not on TV, but I'm on the internet. Like, I cannot look like like someone is asking you to peel an onion, and you be like, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I wash this? How? Oh no, that's so desperate. I'm sure that's a character, because there's no way these people are so useless. There's no way. Like, I want to believe. What do they do when they go to the hotel in Singles Inferno? they have very delicious and very fancy dinner. I think that dinner or lunch, but they do enjoy of the communities of the hotel, the pool, the bed, the showers. They're always talking about like, oh, this is so cool. Oh, and the food. They are like because yeah, and in the Inferno they have to eat like canned food. So definitely, being in the hotel where there's like pools, and so everything's so fancy, but they are so fixated on the part of the menu and everything. And I believe that in there, you have the possibility to ask the other person for what they do for a living, their profession, how old they are, um, and maybe if you want to know more about them, you can only ask them if you go to the hotel with them. While you are in on the Inferno, you cannot know. Zero life skills. Can you imagine? And also, I don't know why they look so fragile. They look so fragile. I swear that when they go to grab a glass, like a cup or something, they are so like, oh, oh. Like, no, move faster, move faster. I like the moments when they cook though. Yeah, even in K-pop shows, cooking really disappoints, and it's funny when they don't know how to do anything. Yeah, but I thought I thought that this was like the idol, the idol image of usually, certain idols not knowing how to cook. I was like, okay, for them I get it, but for these people that are supposed, some of them are business owners, and usually it's the one that owns a bar or a restaurant that knows how to cook. But the models, the model guy, the one that is an actor, the other one that I don't know, because they're all influencers, they don't know how to even boil an egg. So it's like, how have you been surviving this far? The only idol that I do enjoy, just watching him cook, is Shiny Key. Shiny Key, I do watch his compilations of, um, cooking. So they don't actually go to bed together. I was like, that's rather. I mean, there's two beds next to each other, big beds. I believe less singles inferno. There was a whole, there was like, oh my God, look what happened, because I believe that they did sleep in the same bed, and they were like just being just giggling under the cover sheets, under the sheets, and people were like, oh, because I don't know, because I didn't watch it, but I did watch a few clips that actually they were just laughing. I don't know if something happened, I have no idea. They didn't show it, but there was a whole scandal just because there was this image, of them being in the same bed, and just like it seemed like they were playing under the covers. So yeah. Harem is my favorite cook to watch. I was talking to my army friend. Shout out to Daddy. Because about the YG leak, I read on TikTok that there were people that they were like, we already knew this. This is old news. About I know that someone said that RM had like a secret boyfriend. Is that true or is that made up? Um, and she was like, oh, but you didn't know. And I was like, no, because I'm not part of the fandom, so I don't know. Like, I don't know that much. Oh, there was this, this thing in the fandom where they would laugh at, there was this guy that would always, I remember the guy that would appear on Namjoon's post, and he would usually have like a sticker, like an emoji, a sticker on his face. But I would always be like, oh, that's his friend, that's his friend that, he's definitely like, protecting this man's privacy. This is why he doesn't show them, because, people start stalking them. But, I didn't know that there was like a whole sequence of that. And I was like, wow, I didn't see that. I was like, how come I didn't see that? I missed something. That's an old and now new rumor. Well, but that part of the rumor I didn't know. I didn't know. The last time I read for RM for Namjoon was when I read for them before going to the military. And I remember the first card that I got for him was the Queen of Pentacles. That I was like, oh, this is someone that he's just starting to get to know. This is something new. This is someone that he started to get to know. But I never, like, I don't know. Wasn't there a rumor that he was secretly married and kids too at some point? Yeah, but that, yeah, because of the ring, he was wearing like a wedding band. He was wearing like a wedding ring, and like in the in the finger that um but yeah, usually about that, about the potentially being married and with children, I think that it's something that a lot of leaders get, like because they're so serious and they take care of others in the group. So there's like, oh, it's the husband material. um it's the same level type of rumor. They have a crazy rumor. ah Yeah, she told me about the lyrics. She told me about the lyrics, about the pro rider, something like that. And I was like, oh, I felt so dumb. I felt so outdated because I was like, I had no idea of that. But because I was talking to my friend about this, I was like, why sometimes it's really, sometimes I don't know what to believe, is because sometimes some fans are so, they would take anything except their favorite idol, especially if it's a guy. They would take anything but that, the possibility of that man dating a woman. So sometimes, they get really fixated on this of like, oh, I think that they are bi, or I think that they are gay, because it sort of supports, it sort of maintains sometimes their own ships, because they have ships. Um, so sometimes I think that when a fan is calling an idol gay, I'm like, or maybe that their preference is of the same sex, I'm like, that's so fitting for you, for your fantasy. It's amazing, like, because some, honestly, I've seen it, like some, there's something about certain fans, that the idea or the potential of them dating a beautiful woman, or them dating a regular woman, or them dating a woman, is like they go crazy. So it's better to associate them with someone of the same sex or someone of their own group, than to be like, oh, he maybe, is dating another girl, that is not you. So yeah, sometimes I don't know what to believe when they start like, ah, yeah, like Cheon, how would people react when they date opposite gender person? Yeah, I'm thinking like, One thing is that if they give, if they are open about it, which I know that probably they cannot be open because we know that maybe, in Korea it's not that, it's not like in our country, or I mean, in my country, that there's open sex, like same sex marriage here is legalized. Um, so I'm sure, because of their career and everything, they cannot be open to this, but sometimes, because sometimes it's also part of fan service. I'm like, oh, it's so it's so fitting that all of a sudden, it's like, oh no, they like people of the same sex, and I'm like, oh wow, it's fitting for your fantasy. I think that the anger, like, and you can really see, like, this is why I think that it's jealousy, maybe it's envy, but the anger that rise up from, from the audience when they see an idol, or an actor and an actress, a female idol with a male idol, there's like, oh no, it cannot be her, I don't, he should have dated, someone else, because, she's not for him, or she's not good enough for him, or no, if it's like a normal person, oh no. Mm. Yeah, yeah, there's some of that mindset with fans, it's true, but there's also a lot of, yeah, LGBT in K-pop, even in the stuff, so it's not too crazy either. I'm really talking about it. Ah, okay, okay. I'm actually, I would be very happy for them, but yeah, I sometimes, depends on what people say. I'm like, I don't know what to believe. Even worse, what if they are straight after all? People will lose it. When Chayanne relationship got confirmed, people were upset. Same with Karina. Oh, I remember with Karina. Yeah, yeah. They didn't like that man. They didn't like that man. Yeah, and the shippers thinking their ship is 100% legit. Yeah. Okay, guys, do you have another question for the tarot? So I have to go. But yeah, I was telling people that, it's possible that maybe this weekend I will not be able to do a live stream because there's going to be people working here. So yeah, probably I will see you next Wednesday. Mm, mm-hmm. Yes, she's most likely straight, just that. Why did I have so many decks? Okay, guys, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for joining today. Sorry for the mic malfunction of the mic. Yeah, I have to get the usual one, but yeah, yeah. Yeah, then you have to go to the first part, Fluffy. I was talking about, the Delulu, the Delulu groundness. That's the only topic that I chosen for today because that's the only one that I resonated with the most. So yeah, I did start talking about it at the 30 minutes, 30 minutes 10 seconds, 30 minutes 10 seconds. It was like the Lulu behavior and how to ground ourselves. Yeah, guys. So yeah, if I can, and if there's a possibility that they maybe finish, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, if they finish earlier, and if there's a possibility to go live, I will let you know. But yeah, just in case I don't see you, I wish you a good week. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Okay, bye.